A lot of time and effort clearly went into Spotfire 10 with the addition of real time, with the enhancement through the application of AI and many, many other changes. It really is going to change the game when it comes to visual deep analytics. Switching gears a little bit, obviously when we think about TIBCO, we've got the augment, the analytics piece of the business, and we've also got Interconnect, and together they make the Connected Intelligence Cloud. So I'd like to bring up on stage Rajeev to talk us through all the great stuff that's going on the Interconnect side of the world. Good luck.
All right. Good afternoon. We've got some pretty amazing stuff lined up for you today. So lots of cool products, lots of amazing technologies. But before we kind of get started with all that, I just want to spend a moment talking about why we do all of this. Because at the end of the day, technology is a means to an end. And that end involves solving real problems faced by users, whether users are from business, IT, or application developers. So let's start with that and listen to a few of those perspectives.
I'm in marketing operations, and I practically live each day in our CRM and marketing automation systems. I need an easy way without relying on other teams to automate my workflow. For instance, how leads flow between the marketing and CRM system is crucial to how our company wins in the market.
I'm in IT, and my biggest challenge is that business is always asking for more, and they need it yesterday with next year's technology on last year's budget. I need to be able to expose and manage access to our data and systems via APIs so that our business can innovate faster.
I'm a software developer, and you know what really bothers me? It's my phone going off at 2 a.m. and I have to troubleshoot an issue, performance or security, because something happened. I want to leverage the best technology available to ship better apps so that I can sleep at night.
Exactly, right? You've all heard these voices before. And that precisely is what drives us. That is what drives the innovation agenda at TIBCO. So let's talk about the first sort of user perspective around Amber. Amber talked about how she practically lives in an application like Salesforce or Marketo. How do we empower her and users like her with powerful tools and capabilities around application connectivity? Well, for us, that journey begins with TIBCO Cloud integration. Today, I am thrilled to announce that Scribe is part of TIBCO Cloud integration. There you go, thank you. Incredible journey. Any app, any API, anywhere, you can connect with Scribe. You can build your integration applications using BusinessWorks, and you can develop powerful microservices and functions using Flogo. All of this as part of a single service TIBCO Cloud integration. Go check it out. Now, as we talk about the need to humanize integration, to really empower business users with more powerful tools, I think it is really important to have a conversation with Rahul Kamdar from the integration team around what's going on with TCI and some of the cool things that perhaps you guys are working on.
Hey, Rajeev. I'm very, very excited today to share something that we've been working on as a team for some time. So we just heard Amber talk about her use case. And a classic business user use case is to kind of connect two SaaS applications and move data between them. Now, typically, Amber would have to rely on someone else to kind of help her do that. So we decided to solve that problem. And while we were doing it, we decided to take that experience in an environment that she's comfortable with. So let me show you a little bit of what we've done here, right? So I'm going to bring up my screen. And what you see here is an application that's native inside Salesforce. Now, this has been created using the Lightning platform. So it's an environment that Amber, for example, is very comfortable with. I'm going to walk through a few steps that Amber would do in this application if she wanted to do a marketing campaign and move leads from Salesforce over into Marketo. So I'm going to start by saying, let's create a smart map. I'm going to give it a name, saying mapping leads to Marketo. I'll pick a Salesforce object. In this case, I'm going to work on the lead object. And I want this to run after every update of lead in Salesforce. So I'm going to say create. Now at this point, I can choose the destination object. I can pick any, but in this case, because Amber wants to do a marketing campaign, I'm going to choose Marketo. There.
Interesting. So you've already figured out the maps for the data objects between them. This is not the typical data mapper, is it?
Exactly. You would have expected a more classic mapper where you're going to do all your wiring by yourself, but we've done a bunch of this already out here. And where it's not directly available, so let's say, for example, street here, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to pick a field manually. And in this case, my mapper says, got it, basically learning with the inputs that I'm providing. Let me save this. Obviously, this cool technology is powered by Flogo. And let me also explain a little bit about what we're doing behind the scenes. So what we really do is, whenever we get one source field and one destination field, we actually generate mathematical weights for both of them in the form of a 25-dimensional word vector. We determine the distance between the two and use that to find the match. Now, as and when the users are providing us some inputs, we're going to use that to actually learn and keep providing better and better matches over a period of time.
So that is amazing. You have more users using the system, and it keeps getting better, and the better off everyone is.
Exactly, right? So we're going to learn from every time a user is going to do that. Now, while I'm at it, let me also show you one more thing. So I've got a map that I'd already created here. And as you can see, there's a bunch of invocations that have already happened. Now, normally, this would have probably happened in Salesforce itself. But what we've done here is that while the UI is in Salesforce, all these executions are actually externalized, and we are doing them on AWS Lambda. So we get all the benefits of serverless, such as speed, time, and cost. So while you're going to cover all of this in the breakout, let me summarize this for the audience here. So one, we decided to solve Amber's problem and make her independent and be able to do these kind of interactions by herself and take it in an experience that she's very, very comfortable with. Number two, we decided to take the compute out of the SaaS app itself, and we use AWS Lambda in order to get the benefits of serverless. And three, and the most important, is that we actually train our neural net in order to provide this extremely rich auto-mapping capabilities. And as the user provides us inputs, we're going to learn and keep making better. But all of this doesn't end there. What we have done here is just the beginning. We absolutely intend to bring this experience for our business users in every major SaaS application out there. How does that sound?
That is pretty amazing. So this, again, a lot of these sort of notions around humanizing integration really coming to play and creating a compelling, beautiful experience for the business user. Amazing stuff, Rahul. I can't wait to hear the kind of applications and solutions our users build. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, as we look at humanizing data connectivity using things like Scribe as part of TCI, we're also working on something extremely important around humanizing business workflows. Using the new TIBCO Cloud Nimbus Maps capability in TIBCO Cloud, business users can document, map, really discover process workflows around them. Now, as you discover these workflows, they could be related to compliance, risk management, and you may want to automate them using TIBCO Cloud Live Apps. And as you automate them, you really want to explore the possibilities of engaging with those workflows in new and interesting ways. Now, we've all been there, right? You're rushing off to the airport, and somebody sends you an expense report or a purchase order that needs to be approved right away. And you're in the back of the cab, and you're struggling to kind of log into VPN. Wouldn't you love to be able to use a new experience like this? You can cue up the video.
List purchase orders.
The first purchase order of 2 is state, ready for approval. Purchase order number, PO264. Submitter name, John Smith. Requisition description, trade show booth.
Perform approve.
Approved performed on PO264.
All right. That's exactly how I want my purchase orders to be approved. Tom sitting in the front row. Thank you so much. I mean, this is again, one of those ways in which you can engage with business applications the new way, the modern way, without going through the old school sort of walls of IT, if you will. Now, let's talk about IT. You've heard Juan talk about the challenges, right? You got to run next year's innovation agenda with all the cool technologies with last year's budget, right? How do you do that? Well, let's talk about how we can help in that process by leveraging some of our unique capabilities. And we begin that journey for IT with the ability to interconnect at the speed of light with zero compromises when it comes to reliability. We've got some major capabilities and announcements coming your way in Q4 with TIBCO messaging. First up is FTL6. We're absolutely turbocharging the cloud deployment options for FTL, including in environments like Kubernetes. With Active Spaces 4, you today will be able to access multi-site disaster recovery and grid replication. Again, major capabilities in that fundamental foundational layer of interconnect. And next, let's move to the sort of flagship technology for us when it comes to the integration landscape, BusinessWorks. BusinessWorks 6.5 and Container Edition 2.4. These are major milestone releases for our core flagship technology. The team has spent an incredible amount of effort with almost a singular focus on one thing, which is to industrialize your integration infrastructure with really amazing capabilities for developers using unit testing, test automation, all the way through amazing sort of beautiful, slick, out-of-the-box process monitoring. We think you'll absolutely fall in love with what you get in BW 6.5. Now, as many of you deploy, hundreds and some of you thousands of applications, of these BW applications in your infrastructure, they're going to generate tons and tons of log data and metrics. The focus for the latest releases with TIBCO Hawk and Log Logic has been to absolutely capture value from all that operational intelligence and do so at scale. Now, one of the favorite buzzwords for IT is to have to deal with digital transformation. We all know digital is all about being API-led. Well, when it comes to managing APIs, the world comes to TIBCO Cloud Mastery. Every single day on our public SaaS infrastructure, we process an incredible 2.8 billion API calls every single day. And no other cloud API vendor comes even close. The team is focused around the much-awaited next release for Mastery Local. TIBCO Mastery Local 5 that we're announcing today has been to take that incredible technology and enable IT to deploy it whenever, wherever. Whether that be on-premise, in a hybrid compute form factor, or in a private cloud environment like Kubernetes. That's been the focus for the team. And let's listen a little bit to Rajeev Narayanan from the Mastery team to just about to understand how impactful this is for Mastery customers, both existing and new.
Mastery Local 5 is an exciting new step for TIBCO Mastery. Over the past few years, cloud native has become the de facto way applications are developed, and increasingly, cloud native applications are almost all API-led and event-driven. And these market trends have largely influenced the evolution of what was previously referred to as API management to a full lifecycle API platform. And with the release of Mastery Local 5, we're doubling down on an architecture that is based off native Kubernetes constructs and empowers you with complete control and flexibility over how and where your APIs live and are managed, whether it be on-prem, in the cloud, or increasingly at the edge.
Exactly. Digital is all about not just being API-led, as Raji said, but also being about event-driven. Now, quite frankly, for a lot of us here, it's a little bit all about being back to the future, right? With event-driven everything. I know there are a lot of analyst friends in the room who really talk about the impact of event processing. Now, those of us here are living that future today. Many of you run mission-critical infrastructures using TIBCO's business events technology, process millions, and in some cases billions of transactions every single day, and create tremendous economic value. Which is why I am thrilled to announce the next major step for TIBCO's event processing business. What we're announcing today is the forthcoming availability of TIBCO Cloud Events. This is event processing simplified and made available in TIBCO Cloud. What we're doing is to take the core of the business events technology, we made it cloud native, and we put together a beautiful, simple experience around it so that you can leverage it in your cloud native application architectures. And again, to learn more about why this is such a big game changer for existing and new customers, let's listen to Kritika from the BE team.
TIBCO Cloud Events is an exciting new chapter in TIBCO's event processing timeline. We're bringing all the expertise and lessons learned from the decade-long work we've done with customers such as yourselves with TIBCO Business Events to this easy-to-use cloud service. Event processing is back in a big way, leveraging all the modern application development and deployment methodologies that were simply non-existent a few years back. As a pioneer in the space, promoting the adoption of event-driven architectures, we're fundamentally expanding the reach in terms of scale and types of problems that we can help solve across verticals.
Exactly. So events are back. We're back in a big way, and we're in many ways kind of back to the future. All right, so now let's talk about developers. Developers are at the forefront of this digital thingy, right? As a developer, I want to build awesome applications. I want to build them faster, I want to build them better, and I want to deploy on a variety of various cloud platforms. It is quite honestly in this context that we went back earlier this year and made a strategic decision to support and invest in two significant open source projects. You would have heard about this already, Apache Kafka and Eclipse Mosquito. Quite frankly, what we are doing here is we are committing to contribute back to the community decades worth of hardcore messaging engineering expertise. And we are doing that in order to enable you to be successful in adopting them. Now, all of this are today available as part of TIBCO messaging as a single integrated product offering. But to really talk more about a day in the life of a developer using TIBCO and non-TIBCO technologies, increasingly lots of open source. Let's talk to Leon, who heads up developer advocacy for us. Leon, so what are you hearing when you talk to developers out there?
Thanks, Rajeev. So when I talk to developers, as you heard Sneha say on the video as well, she wants to choose the right tool for the job, whether it comes to things like messaging with Kafka or MQTT, or whether it comes to AppDev. I mean, at the end of the day, she wants to build apps faster and better. I mean, you know, devs want a dev. So in order to build apps faster and better, you have to start with an amazing community. And if you look at Project Flogo, the amazing community has built over 400 contributions to make the life of a developer faster. So, for example, if I wanted to use one of those awesome contributions, I can go to flogo.io and open up the showcase. And from there, I can use things like a transform, like a write to file activity, or things like a gRPC trigger. And from here, I can actually get that into my Flogo web UI and do all the cool visual things that you would expect from a company like TIBCO. But you know, Rajeev, I got to be honest here. I actually like writing code. So what we did is we created a Golang API so that you can use all of those triggers, all of those activities, and obviously the underlying engine of Project Flogo within your code, and obviously bring along your own Go code. You know what, Rajeev? Let me actually quickly show you an app.
Yep.
So let me open up an app that I wrote before. And as you can see here, I obviously have a bunch of activities here. You know, the same stuff that you would see in that visual UI, but represented in Golang. So the other thing, as you write your apps, and I'm sure that all of the customers here know this, as you write your apps and you want to deploy them, you want to do that in a safe space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy this app to a Kubernetes cluster that I have running on my machine. And that's it. So as we're deploying tons and tons of microservices, the thing is, it gets really hard to remember what you deployed. It gets really hard to remember how to invoke that API that Raji was talking about. So what we're doing today is we're launching an open source tool called API Scout that will help you catalog and index your APIs. But then again, let me just show you how that works. So I'm going to open up a YAML file for an app that I would have deployed to Kubernetes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add two very simple annotations, the one that says index it and the one that says where to find my Swagger spec.
So you can add those pixel-perfect annotations, by the way, to existing applications and new ones. Is that the idea?
Absolutely, Rajeev. So I can add it to existing apps without changing anything, or I can obviously create a brand new app and add it from there. So I just deployed it to my Kubernetes cluster, and should we take a look at how it looks like?
I think so.
Good. So let me open up API Scout, open up the URL, and here we have a relatively nice-looking UI, I would say. And obviously, I deployed a ton of APIs as I was walking through this demo before.
Wow.
And you can see all of the APIs that have been indexed, have been cataloged right here on the screen.
I want to look at the Cheesecake service.
I
That's the one
thought
I'm
you
looking
did.
at.
Yes, absolutely. So the cheesecake service, as I was developing it, should tell you what your favorite cheesecake is.
Ah,
Now, I'm kind of curious what yours is, and if it still remembers what the correct one was. So let me open it up, type in your name, try it out. Oh, apparently your favorite cheesecake is that you're going to take a salad.
yeah, doctor's orders, you know. That's awesome.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Glad that you remembered.
I know, right? So with Project Flogo, I've been able to create apps better and faster using those contributions from our amazing community. And with API Scout, I know what I deployed last summer.
That is awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Leon. This is an incredible journey that you just walked us through, a day in the life of a developer, using just open source out there, but also open source that we increasingly are contributing back to the community. But to really talk about, for instance, what is possible using these technologies on a go-forward basis, I want to touch upon one important statistic that Leon mentioned. There are over 400 open source extensions in the Flogo ecosystem. Let's take a moment for that to sink in. There are over 100 contributors, both inside and outside TIBCO, all over the world, who have made Project Flogo the most popular open source project out there. And today, I just want to join the whole Flogo team and TIBCO to thank you for doing exactly that. Flogo has been on an incredible journey. It's turning 2 years old, by the way, later this year. And how it has evolved really around a tiny, powerful, event-driven core framework. It has grown capabilities around integration flows. It has grown capabilities around micro gateways that are super lightweight runtime components. And today, I'm incredibly excited and proud to announce a major next step in the evolution of Flogo. We're announcing two key extensions today. First and foremost is first-class support for edge streaming. Now imagine all those petabytes of data that are generated out there in the IoT edge, all those billions of messages that are crisscrossing various messaging transports, the ability to apply streaming logic on them and develop applications that can further process them in the context of machine learning or in the context of integration. That's something that we're launching today. And it doesn't stop there. We are going further and bringing contextual rules and contextual decisions as a first-class citizen in Project Flogo. Now imagine all the lessons that we have learned, not just as a vendor, but working with all of our customers and partners with products like TIBCO Business Events and TIBCO Streambase. We're taking a lot of those lessons learned and the core expertise and bringing it and making it available as an easy-to-use packages, as capabilities with first-class developer tooling and building it back into the Flogo ecosystem. So incredibly exciting times for Flogo. But I just want to use this opportunity to kind of talk to Matt Ellis from the Flogo team, who, as I notice, is coming up on stage, I guess, with a package delivery. Is that the one that I was expecting earlier?
Hey, thanks, Rajeev. No, sorry, this is not a package for you. Actually, maybe it's a package from the future. I don't know.
Ooh, intriguing. Tell us all about it then.
Yep. So let's take a step back. So last year at TIBCO Now, we launched native edge machine learning capabilities within Flogo, and the notion was simple. The idea is enable a developer to consume edge machine learning technology on device inside Project Flogo. Okay. And this year, as you said, we've expanded the Flogo ecosystem to include first-class native streaming constructs within Project Flogo, as well as contextual deterministic rule processing in Flogo.
Interesting. So all of these are applications that run on a device and they talk between each other. Is that how it is?
No, actually not the case at all. So that's the old way of doing things, right? So in this case, this is all a single tiny Flogo binary with all these capabilities bundled into the application itself. So integration flows, stream processing, as well as contextual deterministic rule processing in a single binary running within Flogo.
Wow.
So in this box, actually, I've got a device with various sensors connected to it, and as you can see, as I'm walking, the cartoon or the live visualization is actually showing what's happening. So one could say that the box is actually aware of its current state of being.
Is this about the sensors that it is attached to and all the temperature, location, things like that also? But is it also about things like the lack of an event? Does that know about it as well?
Yep, exactly. So let me demonstrate the concept here. So I'm gonna set the box down. So as I said, the box is actually contextually aware of its context. Okay. So if this box were supposed to depart Las Vegas and head to Phoenix, Arizona, and it didn't, the box would actually know that it has not departed yet. And all of this is happening within the Flogo rules. So you can see here the cartoon's getting upset. The cartoon.
I've had that experience with packages not delivered before.
So the box itself is actually screaming out for help and telling you, hey, listen, don't forget about me. I need to be, I've got places to be, right? But let's take it a step further. What about the box being mishandled or abused? What if the box is treated a bit rough, okay?
Ooh.
Well, the box also understands that as well. Let me show you.
Ooh, careful there.
So the box clearly knows it's fragile and knows that it shouldn't have been treated that way, right? So what's actually happening is the sensors in the box are producing data readings, roughly 3,000 data points per second. All of this is being fed into Flogo streams, processed in real time, aggregated, cleansed, all the noise filtered out. Machine learning model using TensorFlow is being inferenced to identify what is the magnitude of the drop, what kind of actions and activity is happening with the box, and then this data is passed over to the contextual rules engine, which is then applying deterministic rules against the data points, and then kicking off alerts.
Wow, that is some amazing stuff. But I'm sure you'll probably literally unbox this at the breakout and in the solution showcase. I'm sure there'll be tons and tons of interest on some of the use cases that'll enable.
Yep, exactly. I'm definitely excited to unbox this and show you guys what this is actually made of and what it's doing. But hey, one more time for good measure.
Careful there. Thank you so much,
Thank
Matt.
you, everyone.
Look, make no mistake, this is incredibly innovative work at the cutting edge of innovation. But what is personally gratifying for me and deeply humbling is the fact that there's all this amazing innovation that's happening, but we're doing all of that lock in step with some of our trusted customers and partners, and many of you who are in this room today. The opportunity to absolutely disrupt entire value chains with this sort of technology is not to be overstated. For instance, the global supply chain and logistics landscape is about $10 to $12 trillion worth. The global manufacturing activity in the world is estimated to be another $11 or $12 trillion. All this amazing innovation is being put to use, and we are working deeply gratified to work very closely with customers and partners in this landscape, which is why I think it really is awesome to be able to conclude this session by inviting up on stage a very close partner, a strategic relationship that we've been working on. And let me actually invite up on stage Carrie Paulus from Jabil to talk about how they are adopting Project Flogo in their transformation journey. Carrie?
Hi, Rajeev.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajeev. Hello, good afternoon. I feel a little bit unique. I'm the first guy up here in a suit. I'm going to talk about hardware and making money, okay? So who is Jabil? This is a company very close to my heart. I've worked with Jabil for over 20 years. It's a company that you don't hear about very often. We're the world's third largest contract manufacturer. We take a concept most of the time, convert it into a design, engineer it, manufacture it, fulfill it to our customers. Most of those products you use every day. You drive in cars to work where there's optic sensors, there's all types of electronics in them. You use appliances in your house, smart appliances. You're using the internet, so the data centers and all of the hardware that goes into those, we're part of that supply chain. Network and telecom, and also life-saving medical devices. So across a broad spectrum of sectors, we're participating. Like TIBCO, we're kind of hidden. We work behind the scenes. TIBCO is supplying software that's working behind the scenes for world-class customers around the planet, and so is Jabil. Jabil is providing not software, but hardware from a design and manufacture point of view for those same customers. So we're kind of like a marriage made in heaven. TIBCO has the software that we want. We have the hardware and the relationships with the OEMs that can help realize the smart Internet of Things. So who are we? We're a $20 billion plus company. We have over 170,000 employees, and we're in over 90 locations across the planet. What we do is and how we bring value to these OEMs is really all about mitigation of risk from a supply chain, a development, manufacturing point of view, and bringing value in terms of lower cost and efficiency in the supply chain. So when we think about the connected opportunity, today we have a lot in common with TIBCO, because what we're trying to do and what our OEM customers want is for one entity, and that would be Jabil with TIBCO, to bring solutions for hardware and software for the Internet of Things. And what they're looking for is not just connectivity. They're not looking for us to just bring something that's going to hook up to the internet and they know that customer X has it. They're looking for business models that will create new revenue streams and obviously additional margin for their businesses. Now this space is trillions of dollars, but it's going to be dependent upon how effective we are with our partnership with TIBCO and the OEMs to bring devices and solutions to the market that actually bring value to their customers. And that's what we're focused on. So today I'm pleased to announce that we have developed a partnership with TIBCO that's going to enable acceleration of smart IoT projects. And more importantly, it's going to help them push through business models that should augment their revenue streams and margin structures. So our vision, how are we going to do this? And what are we doing right now? So we've started to use TIBCO's open source Flogo technology. It's being embedded into devices, smart devices. And we're able to use machine learning and Also to be able to utilize predictive analytics to bring value, even if it's not connected to the web, to the customer. And beyond Flogo, we're looking to improve our contact points with the Connected Intelligence Cloud platform that has Spotfire as a piece of it, to bring additional analytics to the customer so that they can take the data that's being generated by these customers and these devices and start to understand how they're going to be able to produce new business models that are going to be interesting to the market. I'm excited about, after decades of hardware design and manufacturing, to be partnering with TIBCO to bring IoT to the market. And I think between the combination of what TIBCO has been developing, the OEM relationships that we have, and the hardware development capabilities that we have, that we will be able to bring new business models and additional revenue streams and margins to our OEM customers. And ultimately, that means better products for all of you in this audience, and we hope that we can do that sooner rather than later. So thank you very much.